We're going to go south on the 15.
We might run into them.
Where?
Because it's only one way.
Where'd that girl with the trench coat go?
I didn't see her in a car.
I didn't see her walk back in and get in that car because you took off. Took guys off.
Honestly, if it blows up, I really don't want to be there.
Yeah, the blue car went that way. Because that's where Black Lives Matter. They were creeping me. Didn't you? You got a weird vibe off of them, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. That picture from the front end of Air Force One banking out over Vegas, from the obviously with the president taking off after go to south. Remember, this is one of those crazy overlapping thingies up here to get onto the 15.
Not very good Coke.
Sorry. If it's your last Coke.
AMPM doesn't do a very good job at, they used to, at regulating their soda dispensers and stuff.
You know, the sickest part of this is the people that probably have done the most good for kids are probably going to be the ones who hid behind their giving to children. I mean, Speedway Children's Charity, putting these children's charities under the umbrella, the protection of these different corporations. So sick. I mean, it's sometimes like if you're gonna tear, like I don't know, I feel like there's this scorched earth policy that's like in the Bible when the Holy Spirit comes, it comes as an avenger. Even in the films, even in Indiana Jones, and they find the Ark of the Covenant, but the Germans don't understand the power of the Ark of the Covenant, so they open the. And I don't know if you noticed, if you heard this, but remember that treasure that was hidden in the Rocky Mountains, and all the different clues to the treasure. Somebody found the treasure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, follow the clues. So I don't know if all that's coming together to herald in something that people are supposed to pay attention to, but look, I think the school district bought a bunch of Mel Larson's land because this all used to be where they had those big warehouses for the.
She's getting older. She's got to be wanting to sell off stuff.
So strange, Kathy. That used to be big warehouses where they did like the test cars. The test cars
yeah.
you're not supposed to see?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Those test cars, the ones that are covered and they're all like, they're
I
all
know
secret.
somebody who used to do that. Eddie did.
Yeah.
We'd stay on the phone for hours while he was just driving through Vegas.
What were they hauling? Those cars?
They weren't hauling anything.
Were all of them really test cars?
No, Curtis. I mean, let's say that about everything.
Let's say that about everything. What's Janice hauling out to the test site? Scientists? I hope so. But we really don't know. What's what's the Sands Corporation 747s hauling? High rollers? No, fuck, we really don't know.
We just make assumption.
We do just kind of make all sorts of assumptions.
I think that Trump and his team know. I think that there are people who sing like birds. I'm wondering if George W. Bush sang that in his old frailty that he put that they put him under the gun and said, here's the agreement. This is what we won't do to your sons. Spill. Maybe.
But look at it has creeped me out to the core that our friends, the Larsons, have a blue and white temple in Las Vegas, and there's also another one out in Sandy Valley. Palace? The Imperial Palace Hotel and Casino?
Blue and white.
Blue and white.
I wonder if there's something to that. We'll have to dig into
It's
that.
the colors of the temple, babe. It's the blue and white of the you know the symbolism of the temple robes. The temple, the Jewish temple. But this isn't the temple of God. This is the temple of Baal. This is the anti-temple. You know, where children are slaughtered, where they're sacrificed. I mean, honestly, when you stop and think about it, it was Abraham.
Do I get off here?
No, come on.
Oh, you just tell me where.
It was Abraham who God said, okay, you got to sacrifice your kid. And it was only when Abraham was willing to make that sacrifice that raised the dagger, that God smacked the dagger out of his hand and said, you are faithful. You are faithful, and we will replace this sacrifice with a goat. So they went from goats to birds. You know, if you couldn't afford a goat, sacrifice a bird. So again, the temple's getting money. The temple's getting what it needs to be a little more and more evil. So again, what did Jim say? Follow the money. I mean, if you want to fight evil in the world, follow the money. That was like the best advice we probably have ever been given, because when it comes
sure has helped me understand a lot of things.
Because when it comes right down to it, these people that have been getting rich in Las Vegas haven't been getting rich on casinos. No, the real money was in human beings. I mean, Mel Larson, you know how Mel Larson attracted people to the circus, especially families to the circus? Radio advertisements. Mel Larson harnessed the power of radio. He understood the power of radio because that's how he got people to come out to the drag races in Phoenix. Mel Larson's been, you know, he's just been a big promoter. That's who he was. Maybe he's not going to live forever, but he'll be remembered by, you know, some people. But it just seems like the people that Mel worked for might have been involved in some other wickedness.
I keep thinking in my head, so hear me out on this. I've had one major experience where I probably got out by the sheer skin of my teeth before something bad happened to me. And I'll tell you, I thank God every day that I did when I was in college. I met this girl. She was in my, we met as, you know, you have the courtyard. I was going to City College, right? And I was in a psych class, and I chose the topic was to do it on a runaway, and I was talking about this. She's like, well, I did that. I'd be more than happy. You can interview me for your paper. So that kind of opened up, because she was a year younger than me, us to talking about what had happened to her, how she was abused and had run away and whatnot, and she was on unstable ground. So we kind of, she latched onto me, and me being who I was at that time, the fixer of the world, right? Wait till it gets worse. So
ask me about Russ when we're done.
So so anyways, things, you know, whatever, we go on, and then she calls me up one day. We had gone out for dinner or whatever, and she says, come on to my house, I want you to meet my parents and everything. Okay. So this was those older houses in Lakewood. And when you walk in the front door, immediately at the door, you open the door, and there was the couch, was this way, and a chair, and the TV was immediately to your right. And we walked in just at the entrance, and her stepdad was there. And the way that he looked at me was that I knew the true feeling when you feel like somebody is addressing you with their eyes, but it was horrible. It was the most wicked feeling I'd ever felt, and I was like, what the fuck? And her mom was so angry. She just had this mean face, and so, you know, I'm, hi, you know, and so we go through into what would be like the dining room area, and we're in there, and I'm like, how do I get the fuck out of here? I need to get out of here. That's all that's going through my head. When you walked into the room, Curtis, into this area, all of a sudden I was just overwhelmed. Like, all I could hear was screams and feeling of people being tortured. All I can tell you is the most horrible feeling I'd ever felt, and I'm like, I've got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. And it had made sense because a week prior, she had down to my house, horribly upset, saying, and kind of played this game, but she was really upset. And she says, I need to borrow some clothes.